There was a morning I'll never forget. I woke up with my heart hammering against my ribs before the alarm even went off, palms sweating, chest tight like someone had wrapped me in invisible barbed wire. My brain was racing through every scenario where things could go wrong: work, relationships, money, health, and it felt like I'd been attacked by something inside myself that I couldn't control or escape from. I spent years fighting my anxiety. I tried everything: the meditation apps, the therapy sessions, the breathing exercises, the supplements, the journaling prompts, even moving to a quieter city and changing my job. And some of those things helped, sure. But nothing really fixed it because I was treating anxiety as an enemy, an invader to defeat, a broken part of myself that needed fixing before life could finally begin. But here's what I eventually figured out. The thing I had been running from was actually the source code for my manifestation power. The very mechanism causing me suffering at its core is also the same mechanism that makes visualization work, that makes intention setting real, that makes us capable of creating our future. If I'm honest with you right now, I wouldn't be standing here telling you this if anxiety hadn't been the only thing that worked for me. Let's talk about what your nervous system is actually doing when you feel anxious, because understanding this changes everything. When you're anxious, your brain isn't malfunctioning, it's hyperfunctioning. Your amygdala is scanning for danger at an accelerated pace. Your prefrontal cortex is trying to solve problems that haven't even happened yet. Your body is flooding with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing for action. Most people think anxiety is just fear of the future. But if you look deeper, what's happening in your nervous system when you're anxious is almost identical to what happens right before you successfully manifest something into reality. You feel that buzz of excitement before a big moment. That's anxiety wearing a different mask. Your body heightening its awareness, that's manifestation energy building up inside you. Your mind racing through possibilities, your brain literally preparing for the future, which is exactly what manifestation requires. The only difference between anxious energy and manifesting energy is direction. Anxiety runs backward. It scans threats from an imagined future and pulls them into the present as fear. Manifestation runs forward. It takes a vivid vision of your desired future and sends it back to you now as motivation, clarity, and aligned action. So what if anxiety isn't broken manifestation? What if it's manifesting in reverse? This is where everything shifts for me, because once I stopped fighting my anxiety and started understanding its mechanics instead, something incredible happened. I began using the exact same tools that were causing me suffering to actually create what I wanted. I'll never forget when I realized this wasn't just theory. It was real. It was about 6 months into my recovery journey from severe anxiety, and I decided to try something radical instead of running from what was happening in my body. I sat down one evening with a piece of paper and wrote out everything I wanted: my career goals, my relationships, the kind of life I imagined. And then, instead of pushing away the nervous energy that usually accompanied those thoughts, I let it all surface at once. I could feel my chest tighten. My hands shook slightly. My breath quickened as I read what I'd written about where I wanted to be in 5 years. And here's what happened next. I didn't try to calm down and suppress it like I always would have before. Instead, I leaned into the sensation fully and asked myself one question. What is my body actually trying to tell me? And the answer surprised me. The tightness wasn't fear, it was anticipation. The shaking hands weren't weakness, they were readiness. That racing mind wasn't chaos. It was processing at high speed all the possibilities available to me right now. I had spent years believing anxiety meant something was wrong with me, when actually it was my body saying, "This matters to you deeply." And that's when everything changed, because manifestation doesn't work through calm detachment alone. It works through emotional intensity. When you're truly excited about a future vision, your nervous system lights up in almost the exact same way as anxiety does. The difference is you're feeding it forward instead of pulling threats backward. I want to share with you exactly what I did, because this isn't just philosophy. It's a process that actually works, And if you've been struggling with anxiety for years like I have, it might be the missing piece. The first thing I had to do was stop trying to calm down during anxious moments, because here's what nobody tells you. Anxiety has information in it. Every tightness in your chest, every racing thought, every sensation of dread is your body pointing towards something that matters to you deeply. So instead of suppressing them immediately, the first step was learning to listen through them by asking myself one question each time I felt anxious. What am I actually afraid might happen here? The second thing that completely changed my relationship with anxiety, and honestly this took years of practice, was developing a simple mental distinction between worry and genuine concern. Worry is your brain looping on scenarios where you feel powerless to affect the outcome, while genuine concern comes from places where your intuition senses real possibilities ahead, but you have some agency over what happens next. When I started noticing which was which in my body, I realized most of what felt like anxiety was actually worry wearing a mask. And once I stopped feeding it with mental loops instead of directing it toward actual planning and action, the intensity naturally dropped to something usable. The third step is where things get really interesting, because there's something happening in your nervous system during anxious moments that nobody talks about. Every time you feel anxiety, what's actually happening inside you is a moment of genuine emotional investment in your future. And I realized this meant I could use the exact same energy that usually felt like suffering to fuel my visualization practice by doing three things whenever the sensation hit me. Acknowledging it without judgment as proof that something mattered deeply to me, asking myself one focused question about what direction that energy was pointing, and then immediately writing down whatever answer came up, whether it was a goal, a fear I needed to face, or simply clarity about where my attention truly lived. The fourth thing I had to learn, and this is honestly the hardest part of everything, is that anxiety will always come with physical sensations attached. Tightness in your chest, tension in your shoulders, increased heart rate, shallow breathing, shaking hands, rapid thoughts. And for years I thought these sensations were signs something was wrong and needed fixing. But here's what I discovered instead. They're actually proof your body is ready to act on something that matters deeply to you. So rather than fighting them through meditation or trying to calm down completely, the practice I developed was learning to breathe into those exact sensations for just 30 seconds while silently affirming that this intensity means something important has shown up in my awareness and that I have agency over how it moves forward, which sounds simple but literally rewired my nervous system's response within weeks. The fifth step is honestly what separates people who use anxiety as fuel from the ones who get stuck fighting it, because every time you feel anxious about something specific, whether a big presentation coming up, an important conversation, or even just feeling generally overwhelmed, you've got to ask yourself one question. If I could only do one thing right now that would move me toward what matters most in this situation, what would it be? And here's the beautiful part. Once you answer it and then actually take a single action in its direction within 30 seconds of identifying it, your nervous system literally shifts from anxious mode into purposeful mode because anxiety needs paralysis to survive. But one concrete step is enough to break that loop completely. There's a deeper layer to understanding this whole thing, because what I've realized over the years is that most of us don't actually struggle with anxiety itself. We struggle with our relationship to it. We think feeling anxious means something is wrong, that we need fixing, that if only we could achieve some state of perfect calm, then life would finally be livable and productive and joyful. But what I've found instead, after years of therapy, meditation, self-help books, podcasts, and honestly a lot of nervous breakdowns, is that the goal isn't to eliminate anxiety, because the people who seem most confident in their manifestation abilities aren't people without anxiety. They're people with extraordinary capacity for intense feeling who have simply learned how to direct it forward instead of backward. And this is where everything clicks into place. Every time you feel anxious, your nervous system has just handed you a gift. It's telling you that something matters deeply to you right now, and that intensity can be redirected toward vision, action, or clarity instead of left trapped in loops that feed nothing but suffering. The question isn't how do I stop feeling anxious anymore? The real question is, what if anxiety is actually your manifestation power in disguise? Because here's what I've learned from years of working with this and studying it deeply. Every single person who manifests something remarkable has passed through seasons where they felt everything intensely, doubted themselves completely, questioned whether any of it was actually going to work out. The difference isn't that they didn't feel anxiety. It's that they stopped letting the sensation dictate their story about what kind of person they are and instead let it inform what direction they were moving toward next. So if you've been struggling with anxiety for a long time, maybe years, maybe decades, and you've tried everything from medication to meditation apps to therapy to lifestyle changes and still feel like something inside you is stuck in a loop of worry that won't stop, I want you to consider this possibility as something real and worth exploring. What if the intensity you've been fighting all along isn't actually your enemy at all, but rather your manifestation power wearing disguise? What if every anxious moment has been trying to tell you what matters most deeply to you right now? I'm not asking you to pretend that anxiety is easy or pleasant. I know it's not. I'm asking you to consider that the very mechanism causing you suffering might also be capable of becoming your greatest ally in creating the future you actually want. Because once you start using this energy instead of fighting against it, something remarkable happens. You begin manifesting things at a speed and depth that never would have been possible through calm effort alone. So here's what I'm inviting you to do starting right now. Pick one thing on your list of things you've wanted for years but haven't pursued because anxiety keeps stopping you from really committing. Pick one specific next step toward it. Take a moment to feel whatever comes up when you imagine doing that next step without trying to calm it down, and instead just notice where that energy wants to go, and then ask yourself, what's the smallest possible action I could take in the direction of this vision within the next hour? And once you've identified it, do it, even if you're trembling while doing it, especially if you're trembling while doing it. Because here's what nobody tells you about manifestation. It doesn't require perfect calm. It requires honest intensity directed forward instead of backward. And your anxiety has been directing itself all along. It just hasn't known yet that you were ready to receive it as a gift instead of a burden. So take this next step knowing that the very thing you've been running from is actually trying to show you something beautiful about how capable you truly are. And once you stop fighting yourself and start working with what's actually happening inside, your manifestation power will begin waking up in ways you never imagined possible. Your intention creates your world. Hit subscribe to join our circle of light and manifestation. Remember, peace begins within. Thank you for being here today.